this video, we're going to go over the bench press. First, we're going to cover the correct technique and form so you don't get injured. Then we're going to cover the most efficient way to bench press so you can bench press as much weight as physically possible. And then we're going to go into some techniques and little tricks you can use to stimulate muscle growth to the absolute maximum, getting the stretch and the squeeze much more on this exercise. So starting with the form and technique, we're going to sit on the end of the bench and then we're going to lie back so we don't whack our head on the bar. When we're here, we want to get our eyes level with the bar as it's racked, and this will allow us to, when we unrack it, it will stop the bar from hitting into the sides, and we'll be able to have it nice and far away from the hooks. So when we select our grip, I usually put my ring finger on the knurling, but you need to play around with this. It's more down to personal preference. Some people go thumb width from the knurling, or they go pinky on the knurling, or they just play around with it until they feel what they like. But most importantly, we want to make sure that our hands are evenly spaced along the bar, so you need to use references. So ring finger on the knurling for me, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide down and I'm going to tuck my traps into the bench like this. You see my shoulders go back, and then I'm going to slide up a little bit, and I'm going to try to arch my back, and I'm going to push my glutes as far up the bench as I can. So then I've got this little arch, this little gap here. I'm going to show you from this angle. Our shoulders need to be retracted and like pinned back the whole duration of this exercise. They don't, as we press, we don't like bring them forward like this. They need to stay, even at the top of the rep, they need to stay retracted like this. And that's how you press. I'll give you a little demonstration. See, they're retracted now. They're retracted now. And they're still retracted now. They don't come up like that. My mid back is always off the bench, and my rear delts are like planted into the bench. Doing this is going to save me from fucking up my shoulders. And the reason for this is because if we bring our shoulders forward like so, we like put in all of that weight onto our front delt, and this is where you just end up fucking up your shoulders. So once we're in this position, we want to lift our glutes off the bench and unrack, making it a little bit easier. And then we want to put our glutes back down, keeping our shoulders pinned the whole time. From here, we want to make sure that our wrists aren't like this, and they're actually more vertical. Keeping our shoulders pinned back, we want to bring the bar down, but we don't want to bring our elbows out like this. We want to tuck our elbows at about 45-degree angle. And we want to bring the bar down to just below our chest, about here. Keeping my shoulders retracted, keeping my back arched. And then when we press up, we're going to press up to that original position. And that original position should be where the bar is over our shoulders. We rack the bar and sit back up. Right, now we're going to go into how we can bench press efficiently, and that is going to be through using our legs and leg drive, and also the way in which the bar moves up and down the bar path. Starting with the legs, we want to try and get as wide stance as we can with our legs, but also tuck them back, because we want to sort of push off and push ourselves back up the bench as we press it off our chest. So that's what we need to think of when we're doing leg drive. You're pushing your body as you're pressing up the bench slightly, but obviously you're not going to move up the bench. It's just that motion there. The reason why this is so effective is because when we're at the bottom of our rep and we're going to press, the initial press is going to bring the bar closer to our face, and that is helped by the leg drive. So we push it back towards our face. So it comes down in a diagonal motion. And then when I press it, it comes straight back up to my face. It comes like this way first, before going straight up. And the reason why this bar path is so useful is because we sort of push it back with our legs. So we're using our legs to assist us. So you'll see from the side angle, the bar path, as the bar's being pressed up, it goes in more of a concave shape. And as the bar is being lowered down, it comes in a more convex shape like that. You may have watched the likes of Jay Cutler and all these Mr. Olympias, and they bench press slightly different. They sort of flare their elbows as much as possible, and they bring it up nice and high on the chest like that, and then they press. The reason for this is because it stretches our chest, and the more stretch we have, the better hypertrophy, the better we can stimulate muscle growth. However, if you're just starting out with bench pressing, you don't want to be doing this because you're going to get shoulder injuries, and you probably go too heavy for that sort of technique. But I'm going to show you anyway. So they usually select a slightly closer grip, and they'll flare their elbows out like this, and they'll press. And that's basically just to get just a bigger stretch and more of a squeeze on the chest. The closer we grip the bar, the more tricep focused the exercise is. So close grip bench press is mostly tricep, and the wider we go, the more the focal point is on the chest. So depending on which area you want to target, depends on how wide the grip is. But you want to find a general median where, as I'm bringing it down, you see this angle here is like 45 degrees. You don't want it to be too wide like this. You don't want it to be too narrow like this. If it's too narrow like this, it's too tricep focused. If it's too wide like this, then it's too chest focused. But of course that depends on what you want to train, whether you want to bench press efficiently or for muscle growth. A quick summary then, technique wise, make sure you keep your shoulders retracted and pulled down. You keep your back arched. You grab the bar evenly. When you come down with the bench, you bring it at an angle like so. It doesn't go straight down. It comes down to your chest. And then as it comes back up, should be a slight curve in the bar path as you use your leg drive to shift yourself up the bench. The angle of your elbows depends on which pressing muscle you want to use and train. And if you really want to get a Mr. Olympia style stretch and squeeze, then you want to flare your elbows, stretch that chest as much as you can, and then press and squeeze it in the middle. That is how you bench press. I hope you learned something from this and you get a stronger bench and build more muscle.